7:04 on this Thursday. It's January 13th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. Thursday morning, and we're ready to talk about Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon, the dealer who'll trade for anything you don't need. Tell you what, Paul and Ronnie are just like clockwork. Every Thursday they're both here, and they're here this morning, all ready to go. Paul Tubbs, dealer operations manager, Ronnie Kelly in sales for 35 yet?
35 be the 26th of this month.
Okay, almost 35
Almost.
years. Well, how are you, Paul?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, what's going on?
Oh, not a lot. We got a lot going on. Swamp busy service-wise. Covered up. Yesterday we probably had, 40, 50 vehicles. We rode up before 10 o'clock. I mean, people was coming in, so that's a good problem to have. And
Most of them oil changes?
no, there was some oil changes, a lot of maintenance, tires. Of course, we meter beat anybody's price on tires, so we had several people buying tires. We did a lot of maintenance, brakes. Of course, Ford offers that lifetime brake pad where if you buy the brakes, they'll give you the pads for life. So we did a lot of brake jobs. But yesterday we were at capacity by 10 o'clock. I mean, I know sometimes it's kind of unnerving. People come in at 2, 3 o'clock, and we've already took in enough work for the day. It's kind of not fair to the ones that brought their vehicle in and they want to come in. So, we've kind of letting everybody know that if you can get there as early as possible, once we get to capacity, that's the biggest reason why Tony and myself looked at, that new dealership. Service department's going to be about twice, if not almost 3 times the size of the service department that we got now. And that's our main thing, is we've just outgrown our service department. Our showroom and stuff is going to be similar size to what we have now, because it don't take a whole lot of room to sell a car, but it takes a lot to fix them. So,
Well, what about that, Ronnie?
Well, he's correct on that call. Yesterday, a lot of people come in and we direct them to service. We had more service customers than we had people for sales. But one thing about sales, people come in and they look at, we got the cars on the lot, and right now we don't have the inventory that we should have. And that's mean a lot of people are not coming in right now, but it'll get better as the month go on. And January, when we start out a little bit slow on sales, but it's picking up. It's picking up, so we're gonna be okay.
All right, we gotta say what you were saying. Your father used to say about snow and cars.
oh yeah, he used to say there was, he said there was nothing uglier than snow on a new car. So, I kind of like that saying. That wasn't very pretty last week when we had all that snow. That's not great for business for Bates, but of course, like I said, right now we got some new F-150s in. We just got 3 brand new F-150s, so that's something that's hard. One white, real pretty Lariat truck that we got in. Our used car inventory, we've done a really good job of getting vehicles. One thing that we don't have a good variety of right now, and I had a good customer that's a real estate agent here in town call me yesterday looking for a cheap car, trying to help somebody out. If you got something you want to sell, we don't have right now. We've sold out of all of our 15,000 and under vehicles. If you've got a vehicle that you want to sell, bring it down to Bates. We'll give you a cash offer on it. We've had, there's hundreds of cars we've bought off the street. Yeah. So that program has been very beneficial to us.
Well, Ronnie, I know you want some 15,000 less to sell, as well as the more expensive ones.
Right. That's what when we have those cars, we got a lot of people that want those cars. And when you don't have those cars, we get a lot of calls on them right now. I have a list, and the other sales people have a list of those cars and trucks that people want. And a lot of times people say, I want a truck under 15,000. It's kind of hard to do if we don't buy them. If we can trade for them, it's great, but we need to buy them on the street if we can. So if you have anything, as Paul emphasized, please bring it by Bates Ford, and we'll give you a cash for it. We had a guy came out last night, and he had a Jeep, and it had several things wrong with it, so we kind of passed on that one. But bring it on down, and if you don't have a lot going on, if you want to turn it into cash, please bring it to Bates Ford and talk to one of Mike or Paul or Joy.
Yeah, thing about that is if you're not using it, don't really need it, somebody else does.
Right.
Probably a lot of people.
Correct. Even if you have a boat, a lawnmower, or whatever you have, bring it down. We'll turn it into cash.
All right. You mentioned tires and batteries. Might mention them again quickly before you leave here this morning.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, our service is staying packed, and it's a good problem to have. We just stay covered up with the oil changes. We got 6 guys that do oil changes constantly. We run the cheapest oil change in town, but we don't just drop oil in them and do that. We make sure we do a thorough inspection, check your brakes, your batteries, your hoses. If you need a battery, our batteries are $134.95 on most vehicles. We install them for free. Tires will meet or beat anybody's price on pretty much tires. We can match any price. We give free rotation for life if you buy the tires. And like I was saying on the brakes, Ford offers a lifetime brake pad guarantee where, if you buy brakes and you need them again, if you've got the same vehicle, they'll give you the pads for free. So all you have to do is do the labor. Let me real quick on the sales end about buying vehicles and stuff. One of the things, if you got something you want to sell, bring it down there. We'll just drive it around the block, and if you want to get rid of it, we're going to give you cash right there on the spot. We'll write you a check for it. So please bring it down. We'll see what we can do to make an offer.
All right, Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Ronnie, I hope we avoid the snow this time, so you'll have more say.
Right, because when snow, it's kind of hard to get, when it snows on those cars, it's kind of tough. We sweep those cars off, we can get customers coming in.
Hey, if it does snow, you can go to our website, www.tonybatesford.com, and look at any of our inventory at any time, and if you're going to give one of us a call, we'll certainly try to do what we can do to help you.
All right, that's great. We all have a good one. I hope it doesn't snow and that we don't have any ugly new cars.
Thank you.
And see you next week. Paul Tubbs, Ronnie Kelly, Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer to trade for anything that don't eat. We're about 11 minutes after the hour, and here on this Thursday morning, I want to welcome Lieutenant P.J. Hardy from the Lebanon Police Department. He comes monthly to see us, and today's the day. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
And how are things with you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain.
We don't ever know exactly what we're going to talk about. You usually have a thing or two that maybe you want to bring up. But why don't we talk a little bit about the snow last Thursday and Friday and how it affected the police department? It's a different world when traffic has to be slowed and you got the snow plows out there trying to clean it off, and there are wrecks or fender benders. Hopefully, I don't think we had any terrible accidents here, no fatalities that I know of. You can help us out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did have, I want to say in the area of 40-some collisions that we had to work during that time. A couple dozen motorist assists, and motorist assist can be anything from someone sliding off the roadway, not hitting anything, but sliding off the roadway, or car just broken down, or that sort of thing. We did have, out of the collision crashes that we had, I think there was 3 that involved injuries, but nothing too major. So that was good. Yeah, it gets to be a real trying time when the snow comes down. And
if somebody just runs off the road and they can't get back on, and maybe they call somebody to pick them up, leave the car there, how do we handle that? And I guess there's some rules, regulations, laws regarding that, and you'd be a good one to tell us what to do or what not to do.
Yeah, there is a grace period, and of course we try to understand the conditions and the situation. So if you do happen to run off the road and it's a vehicle that you're not going to be able to get back on the road and get going, then if you need to leave it there, that's fine. Typically, once the snow situation is over and the roads are fairly cleared, we would expect that you would come back and get it. 48 hours is typically the time frame that we give for that. And beyond that, it may be tagged for towing. Now, if it's in the middle of the roadway, if it's causing some type of hazard, then we may opt to go ahead and tow it sooner than that. So this really depends, but we understand, and when we give a little leniency when it comes to that, and make sure that that you're safe more important than anything else.
I don't know that I've ever heard this advocated, and I don't know whether you should even do it or not, but I'm wondering, is it a good idea to put a little sticker on your car with your name and phone number or something? Does anybody ever do that, or should they do it?
You can. There's I'm sure some folks that would worry about privacy issues, with the phone number and stuff, and the name, really. But it's not completely necessary if you want to, just to make it more convenient. We've got ways to identify the vehicle and registered owner and that sort of thing. So we're pretty good in that area. But if you wanted to do that, just to say, hey, I'll be back tonight or tomorrow or whatever, that would be fine.
Did we have many that were towed last weekend?
No, not that I'm aware of. So that was a good thing. But like I said, we did have quite a few calls for service due to the snow, and so. But we all got through it.
Well, if there is a collision, somebody's usually ruled at fault, and you need a police report. So that gives y'all more that you're responsible for doing, right?
Yeah, and that's a really important thing we want to bring up is in those situations when we ask folks to maybe stay home if they can. It's more than just, hey, we're concerned about your safety, but it's actually everyone's safety, because if we're having to work these collisions because we do have to, make sure everybody is okay. There's no injuries, and then we have to write the reports and that sort of thing. Well, that kind of takes away from some of the other activities that we really need to be doing during those times. So if we ask you to, if you can, work from home or stay home, that would be great, because our roads are not designed for that type of weather. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. I come from an area where they are designed for that, and it's a little bit different. So, with the hills and the curves and the turns, and even me personally getting home, it can be sketchy depending on how much of that snow we get and how much of it freezes over. There have been times where I've had to leave a car down the street and walk to my house because there's a.
Well, one other thing, we'll go to a break. I want your best guess as to what's going to happen this weekend. The last time I saw the weather map, I think it was around Washington State that it's headed this way, but we don't know how severe. What do you think?
It's really kind of up in the air right now. It's low level. Our good friend Daniel Coleman over at WEMA kind of helps keep an eye on the weather for us, and he sends us updates. And a lot of times we will use his updates and we'll share them on our social media. But we've got it's a low priority at this point, but as that builds and as it gets closer, anytime that it moves through our area, it tends to pick up a little bit of steam. If it doesn't do that, we'll be fine. But if it does what it usually does, then we may have a little bit, not too bad from what I understand, but we'll kind of wait and see. Tomorrow we should know for sure. It's supposed to start off with rain on Saturday, and then as the temperatures start to drop Saturday afternoon, then it may transition over to snow. So
okay. Take a break right here, and more coming up with Lieutenant P.J. Hardy here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's finally looking a little bit better on 65 southbound down through Williamson County over here in Brentwood from that earlier wreck just past OHB. They continue to work that accident where a pedestrian was hit earlier on Delubrium at 13th. Traffic's building in the normal spots now. 24 coming in from Rutherford County. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar is home of the world-famous cotton candy wine. They have other flavors. Check them all out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us, and our thanks always to Lieutenant P.J. Hardy for coming out here once a month to let us know a few things we wouldn't know otherwise about the Lebanon Police Department. And you got something you want to bring up this morning?
Yeah, so we just rolled out our LPR system. That's a license plate recognition system. We've got several cameras already set up throughout the city, and for those who don't know what this program is. They are cameras. Now, before we start getting too concerned, these cameras are not for traffic enforcement. We will not write any citations based on whatever activities caught on these cameras and that sort of thing. It's not for the purpose of tracking people's movements, which is something that a few people have responded in that way. But what this system is, and it's something that's utilized in lots of communities all throughout the state of Tennessee and the United States. It just gives us the ability to identify stolen vehicles, wanted persons, those things in nature that are really important to our community, that we address those things as soon as we are notified, before those individuals can come into our city and victimize someone here. And so that's what it's used for. We've got about half of the cameras that we originally purchased. About half of them are installed. The other half are still in schedule to get installed. We probably will be looking at purchasing a few more. Already, we've had 2 stops from the LPR system, which, by the way, our system's called SafeNet. It's provided by a company. Can't think of it off the top of my head. I'll think about it here in a second. But nonetheless, it's a great system. It alerts automatically to our dispatch center and to our officers in their cars on their computers when there's a vehicle that is tagged. And again, stolen vehicle, stolen tag, wanted person. There could be a Homeland Security issue, terrorist alert, that sort of thing. As long as it's put into the system, that vehicle, that tag is somehow related to a situation that we need to to look at and address. And we've had two rather good arrests that come out of it. Both vehicles coming from the Metro Nashville area, both vehicles stolen. And then there was drugs involved and that sort of thing.
When word gets out, and I know Mount Juliet's had this for a while, something similar anyway.
Yep.
When word gets out to the criminal element that these cameras are there, and if you're doing some of these things, chances are good you're going to get caught. Is that a deterrent? How
Absolutely,
big a deterrent?
And that's our hopes as well. You mentioned Mount Juliet, but Gallatin, City of Gallatin has this system, and lots and lots of agencies are all around Tennessee have them. It's Flock Safety is the manufacturer of our particular camera system, a very popular company that other agencies use. But nonetheless, that's what we're hoping, because oftentimes, as you remember, probably. You remember not so much last summer, but the summer before, we had that situation where we were having individuals coming out of other areas. A lot of times, I'm just stating facts. They come out of the Nashville area with a stolen vehicle. They come here, they not vandalize, but burglarize vehicles here. They leave that stolen vehicle and steal a vehicle from here and go back to Nashville. We had a lot of that going on a couple of years ago, and so this will definitely help us be able to identify those vehicles as they're coming into our area before they can set up shop in one of our neighborhoods and go through the cars and burglarize the cars. So that definitely helps. It gives our detectives, our investigators, an upper hand as far as being able to see these vehicles, see their movements, where they're going, where they've come from, and that sort of thing.
What determines your location? I don't think you just, we need one here. You probably put some thought and some data to indicate.
Yeah, so we looked at several things to consider. Access ways from interstates is obviously something that we looked at. We looked at higher crime areas. We looked at that, and then just traffic patterns. And you'll see some on a typical exchange of an exchange will have 4 cameras. Some may only have 2, depending on what the direction is and what the traffic pattern is. But the other awesome thing, and we're going to be rolling this out too later on this year, is there are neighborhoods all throughout the U.S., all throughout the state that participate in this as well. Those camera systems are available for neighborhoods. So if you live in a subdivision and that has an HOA that's interested in getting this system, again, it helps them directly keep track of things that are going on in those particular neighborhoods. This company offers that not only for law enforcement agencies, but also for communities as well. And we're going to probably roll out some information with that. We don't get involved in, you know, the conversation between the neighborhoods and the camera supplier, but we want to make sure that everyone knows that it's available. So.
Well, somebody has to, I guess, be trained, be literate, if that's the right word to use, regarding these cameras and how to load them and that
Sure.
sort of thing. All that is incumbent on the police department.
Yeah, we can help in that endeavor. Flock Safety also has their own crew of folks that do the training. It's really super simple. Once you download you can put an app on your phone that gives you the notifications and alerts. Not everybody in the neighborhood is going to have that. It's just going to be those people, you know, your HOA board members, your you know, whoever kind of is in charge of that particular neighborhood, and they'll be able to see what's going on. And it does. It really. It's just another piece that you can add to the neighborhood watch program. There's lots of different things you can do to keep your little pocket of life, you know, safe.
Let me ask something. You're talking about in this case here. It's a lot of it has to do with stolen cars. That's the main thing I think we're talking about.
Sure.
How much of that may be drug related in that somebody is doing that because they've got a drug habit to satisfy?
Well, we're 2 for 2. So in each of the arrests that we've made, this system went live last week, earlier part of last week. We've made 2 stops based on, we call them hits on the camera system. And in both situations, there were drugs involved. In both situations, we found fentanyl, which is a very highly dangerous drug that's out there in our community that's causing a lot of these overdose deaths. So it's really important. Again, gives us a little bit of a head start. You know, when we have vehicles that come in that are stolen, and if we're not aware, they can do certain things. They can, like I said, set up shop in neighborhoods and that sort of thing. And by the time we get notification from a victim or whatnot, you know, it may be a little bit too late. But this gives us the upper hand because as the vehicle comes in, and if it is stolen, like I said in the past, that's been the MO is a stolen vehicle comes into the area. They set up shop, they burglarize vehicles, and they leave out. And so,
you had any opposition really from this?
There's
somebody might say, well, you're just going to do stolen vehicles now, but later on you may really start doing citations for speeding and that sort of thing.
Well, there's always going to be some folks that aren't going to be real happy with anything that we do, and I get that, and I can understand where someone may be skeptical, but it is not our intent to ever utilize this, as I said, for traffic enforcement. We've seen historically where those traffic enforcement cameras and whatnot have not done well in communities where they've installed them and taken them back out, and and we understand that there are some rights, that need to be considered and that sort of thing. This is strictly just for the stolen vehicles, wanted persons. Again, a comment was made the other day in our social media. If you're the average citizen that runs around town, you will never be impacted by this system. But if you are wanted, or if you have stolen a vehicle, or if you've stolen a license plate, you're going to be recognized. And so, there's that. But the thing is, one of the words that's used is track. Well, it tracks individuals. It doesn't track individuals. It tracks cars.
Oh, okay.
And it reads the plate. Mm-hmm. And anything that's associated with that, and that's why we have license plates. That's part of the reason why we have license plates, so that they can be identified. The car can be identified. The registered owner can be identified. And sometimes, in some cases, those registered owners may be wanted for something. And may have outstanding warrants, and those are the things that we need to address. Again, it's all to give us an advantage so that those types of people that would otherwise come in and do harm in a community, we can get a little bit of a jump on the situation and make sure that our residents don't get victimized by that.
We're about out of time here.
Yeah.
COVID played havoc lately with the police department.
Yeah, me personally. So our household got hit with it. Yes, it's been. We've had several people have to sit out. We've transitioned from the health department's guidelines on quarantine to the new CDC guidelines, and so it's a 5 and 5 type deal. So that's helped out a little bit because you can return after 5 days as long as you're symptom free. Of course, you have to wear a mask and that sort of thing. So that's kind of helped out, but it's just kind of everywhere. So
Well, we hope we hope that the snow avoids us, but if it does come, we'll deal with it, and we'll deal with whatever hand we're dealt. I guess that's kind of the way we go, right?
yeah, that's right. And if you want to keep up to date on that, you can always check us out on Facebook and on Instagram. That's where we post all of the information about weather events or whatnot. Just real quick, we have the MLK March this Saturday at 10 o'clock. So that's something that's coming up that you might want to participate in.
Okay. Well, thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next month. Lieutenant P.J. Hardy, he's the Information Officer for the Lebanon Police Department. And that is part one of Coleman and Company. Hope you'll keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford, and they have low price tire guarantee on all tires every day, up to 30 days after the sale. There'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Looking much better now as you make your way down 65 through Brentwood, Williamson County from that earlier crash. They're in Brentwood just south of OHB. Now, they're still on the scene where a pedestrian was hit a little bit earlier this morning on Delubrium at 13th, 600 block of Bell Road. They had traffic backed up in both directions a few minutes ago there in South Nashville. Warmer weather waiting on you at Pensacola Beach. Check out PensacolaBeach.com and plan out your next getaway. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Today's forecast calls for a mix of sun and clouds with just a slight chance of rain. Highs today will top out in the low 50s. On Friday, temperatures reach the mid-40s with partly cloudy skies. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's Look at Your Forecast. I'm meteorologist T.J. Scott.
And again, a good morning to everyone. Welcome to part two of Coleman and Company here on a Thursday morning. Heather Sadler-Gallagher is with us this morning on the phone and ready to talk about the Pavilion Senior Living here in Lebanon. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Everything's peachy this morning. It's not even too cold out there.
No, it's about just right now.
Yeah. Well, the Pavilion, and we're going to start out right this morning. We're going to tell everybody right in the beginning here where you're located, and not that somehow we just seem to put that off to the last, but 1409 Medical Center Drive. It's just north of Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital here. And if you were going to the emergency room, instead of taking a left there at the hospital, you go one more block, and that is Medical Center Drive, and you'll find the Pavilion down there on the right. And I think you've got a lot of good things going for you right now, Heather.
Well, we think we have a lot of good things going, and I think most of our residents and families do. So, last week we were making snowmen, and this week we're working more like a regular schedule and enjoying some sunshine and opening our porches to let some fresh air in. And all of our residents, their apartments have their own screened-in porches. And I'm gonna tell you, rain, sleet, snow, or shine, fresh air is pretty good stuff. So they get to open those and enjoy that. And I think that's one of the blessings we've had during the pandemic is that we could visit even on our porches. And but my residents are pretty happy to have those, and those are utilized every single day. So they're enjoying the sunshine in the afternoons. And of course, with COVID, they say ventilation is a good idea, and so we take advantage of that. And when we clean rooms, we're opening the doors and we're letting germs out and hopefully letting sunshine in. And that's kind of what we do around there. So,
well, we keep having these waves of the virus, it seems, and like it just won't go away. But you seem to be dealing with it pretty well.
Unfortunately, we've had one case of a resident, and we've had several cases of staff that with this last wave. Our one resident gets to leave quarantine today, so everybody else is tested negative, and so we're still moving along just the way we want to move along, with very little hiccups with our regular day. Of course, just like everybody else, the pandemic's rules and regulations and policies have changed, and so have ours. So kind of last week during the snow is when the latest CDC and Department of Health guidelines came down about quarantine, and so we had to change just like the rest of the world did on policies and how we did things. So hopefully I try to be as transparent with our residents and our families as possible. And I send out an email with the first time I have all my factors together to make sure everybody knows, kind of who's on first and what's going on in our building, and just try to be as transparent as possible. Even with a positive case, we got to keep our doors open. The CDC and Department of Health have said that the quarantine is, although the resident may be in quarantine, they can still receive visitors, just as long as the visitors are aware of the risk. And I think most people, we've been transparent, but I think most people will tell you that the quarantine and the isolation for seniors really, really hurt them in the long run. So we're providing masks and education and moving forward. And also, I have 98.5% of my residents fully vaccinated. So that makes a difference on if they have to go in quarantine or not. So, like I said, some of these regulations are as clear as mud some days. So we try to do the best we can to interpret them and make sure we're doing the best by our residents and then our staff. And I think we've done a pretty good job during all this.
Well, that's all good to hear. And we just kind of take it as it comes. You don't know what's coming down the pike. You have to deal with it as best you can. And but I think people are maybe a little more understanding than they were in the beginning too. What do you think?
I think people are more understanding, and I think also people are. I'm not even going to say more understanding, but also more willingness to change the way that you do things on a dime, because that's really what we've had to do. We started with gowns that were cloth to a mask to now N95 mask, and everybody's, we've seen a lot of people not just change their tune, but be very supportive and thankful. And I've always said that senior living didn't stop during a pandemic. We have everyday heroes that work there to make sure that our residents still get, everything they need with activities of daily living like dressing, grooming, bathing, eating, and social activities. So we've just kept chugging along and done a pretty good job of it. I mean, I'm really proud of my staff.
All right, Heather, let me ask you this. We don't talk much about this. I don't know when we've ever even talked about it, but the people that you employ and the people who are there, the caregivers and the different occupations that you have within the pavilion, are you looking for help? Are you fully staffed? Do you need anybody right now? Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I'll be honest. We're always hiring. I'll tell you that we're always hiring, and I feel like that's just because you're always got the movement, no matter what position you're in. But right now, knock on wood, praise the Lord, we're fully staffed.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna give credit to my clinical leadership team. They've done an excellent job of not just recruiting, but being creative with scheduling. Working with, moms that have children that go to school and working around spouses' schedules. We've kind of gotten creative with not just the 3 set shifts, but kind of staggering staff in and out. We've done that with resident assistants and also with our LPNs, and it's worked really well for us. And so that means that just not the strict 6 to 2, 2 to 10 and 10 to 6. We've staggered staff and got them, where their home and work-life balance work. And as long as that works for them, then we normally can make it work for our residents. So, like I said, right now, a year ago I couldn't say that, but I can tell you right now I'm fully staffed, and I've got some part-timers, I've got some full-timers, and I have some that pull multiple shifts if they need to. But we've actually fared pretty well. But I think it's just in that we've looked at our staffing as what is their needs and how can we meet their needs, not just them meet ours.
Yeah. Well, we've come to the end of our time here this morning, but thanks for a good explanation. Glad to hear that we can say basically all is well, and a good report this morning from the pavilion. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I will talk to you next week.
Okay, great. That is Heather Sadler Gallagher. She's the administrator and the person in charge of advertising, for one thing. She takes care of us when we talk about the Pavilion Senior Living, located right here in Lebanon at 1409 Medical Center Drive. If you want to reach Heather, 615-444-5556. All right, we're going to be playing with the telephone, I guess, a little bit this morning, and I'm going to go to the phone right now. Sue Vanetta, are you on the line?
Yes, sir, I am.
Well, good morning, and welcome to our program. It's good.
Thank you. This is a surprise.
Good to hear your voice. There's always a lot of things we've got to talk about. I should say, County Commissioner Sue Vanetta, you also work here at the radio station about 4 days a week, I think, in the afternoons, and you said it's the best job you ever had. I think, I don't know whether you said it's the best job, it's the easiest job.
It's one of the best jobs I've ever had, because working with the team at WANT is just fantastic. I've known all of you for several years, and to be able to be a part of that, and I just appreciate Susie so much asking me to come and be a part of the team out there. I love it, absolutely love it.
Well, I want to mention something else that I think you love quite a bit. I know you've spent a lot of time and given a lot of attention to the Ag Center in general, but in particular the Expo Center. And you were, years ago, one of the proponents wanting to have such a thing here. I remember when you were at the Chamber of Commerce, and this is years ago, we hadn't even been doing the program too terribly long, took a trip to Georgia. Was it...
we went to Perry, Georgia.
Yeah, Perry, Georgia. Yes, I remember that. I even got off that day, and I think you had a part in that in inviting me, and it was quite eye-opening what we saw that day, and it took a while, but we finally got one.
We did. The fascinating thing about Perry, Georgia, when we went, was the development around that facility. Not only did they build a wonderful venue, but all the new developments that came around that. And I think that's what we've seen here, not the development around it, but all the activity that we're having at the Expo Center. that we tried for 20 plus years to get, and it's exciting.
Well, Gail Hibbert is one who is, I guess you'd say, in charge of booking, of getting people in here. I think you've being on that committee of the county commission. I think you are, and certainly you're familiar with Gail and have worked closely with her. Have you not?
Yes, I do work closely with Gail. In fact, I was on the committee that interviewed Gail, and we decided she was just the top person to take the lead in that position, and she's doing an outstanding job. She told me recently that she's booking out to 2025.
Oh.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that you can plan that far ahead, but I guess you have to. There's a lot goes into securing somebody, them wanting to come here, you wanting them, getting your act together, so to speak, the two entities.
Exactly. Well, the word is out now that we have a fantastic venue at the James E. Ward Ag Center. The expo is just top notch. She's had a lot of different cities and counties come and tour the expo center to see what we do have. And, they're just amazed at it. And, it's not just Gail, it's her team out there. She has Zindel Murphy that's over the operations. So when a venue is booked, he's got a team that puts it together. They make sure it's set up the way the company wants it set up. Then it's torn down afterward, and everything is left just like no one has been there. So it's just a great team that they have put together at that facility.
Okay, it is time for us to take a break. Sue, stay with us. We'll talk more after we go to this break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, Exmark, large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. Number one selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Cleanup continues where a pedestrian was hit earlier this morning there at Delubrian and 13th. They still have that blocked off. Heavy traffic now, but it's moving on. 24 coming in from Rutherford County up through the Hickory Hollow area. Lots of radar, at least it was earlier on I-40 out through sections of Hickman County and Dixon County this morning. Be careful. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar is home of the world-famous cotton candy wine. They have other flavors. Check them all out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hey, this is Paul with Bates Ford, and our vehicle purchase program has been a huge success. If you got something you want to sell, bring it to Bates Ford for a cash offer. Even if you owe money, we'll pay it off and give you the difference. And on the service side, we got some great deals. We got the Works program, which includes an oil change and a tire rotation, the cheapest oil change in town, the cheapest battery in town for $134 installed on most vehicles. That's Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer that'll trade for anything that don't eat.
It's all about taking care of you, and THW Insurance will do just that. Are you looking for home or auto insurance? THW represents Westfield Insurance and other fine companies. Together, they will protect you and your family. Call Carl Ragland at 615-443-6530 or stop in and see him at Wilson Bank and Trust, 623 West Main Street in Lebanon.
And we continue here on this Thursday morning. On the phone with me this morning, County Commissioner Sue Vanatta, and as we've already talked about, she's been a proponent of the Wilson County Ag Center, but and especially the Expo Center that is there, and does work closely with Gail Hibbert, who is in charge of booking that and so on. There are times, Sue, when somebody just wants one little part of that, even one part of the Expo Center. There are other times people come in here with some sort of convention or something, and maybe thousands of people when they want to rent the whole thing, not just the Expo Center, but the whole fairgrounds, the whole Ward Center. And I know that sometimes that calls on a number of people to kind of get their act together. Quentin Smith, director of the Ag Center, as well as Gail, in working this out, and maybe some of you who are part of the Ag Committee.
Well, so big too when you mentioned the James E. Ward Ag Center and Quentin Smith. When Gail recruits a big event out there, she's got to have places to park, and Quentin is so great to work with Gail and secure the parking and make sure everything's running smooth, not only in the Expo Center, but on the outside of the Expo Center. So they have a great working relationship, and vice versa. If Quentin recruits an event for the James E. Ward Ag Center and they need a place to maybe have some meetings while they're here, whatever group it may be, then he and Gail work together and work out where they can use part of the Expo Center. So it's a win-win for the entire area out there.
Are there any big obstacles to overcome with some of these? I know in times past, one time there was quite a bit of digging going on, getting some something in the ground. I forgot what it was now, but it took some extra for that, whatever they needed in that particular situation.
That was probably the rodeo. We needed some extra things done when the big rodeo came here a few years ago. But because of that rodeo, we've been able to put a lot of things in place that has allowed us to recruit more events like that to the James E. Ward Ag Center and to the Expo Center. The Dancing Lights, my gosh, what a great event that is every year. Quentin told me this week that it was one of the largest this year that they've ever had. Last year was a little larger because of COVID, because everybody could stay in their car and go through it. But he said it was close to being the largest this year. The people that own the Dancing Lights are just amazed every year at how many people come through, during the time that they're set up.
Well, one of the things people are concerned about, and especially taxpayers, and I guess some of the county officials, some of the county commissioners are, is it paying for itself? Now, there's no question when you bring thousands of people into the fairgrounds here, whether it's just the Expo Center or whether it's the whole thing or whatever, the busier that place is and the more people that are there, the more money they're going to be spending here, and that's tax revenue for us. So that's a great benefit. But the center itself, and especially the Expo Center, is it making money?
It is, Coleman. Our fifth year was, I think, the 1st of November, and Gail told me just recently that she's got a report to give to the county commission this month that will show that we are making money. Mm-hmm. And that's all because of all the events that come, and also for the Farm Bureau that stepped up with the naming rights. They're helping retire the debt of the building. So, I think all the taxpayers should be very, very pleased with the facility. And I'd like to encourage everyone. I'm sure there's a lot of people in this county that are surprised that we have that facility out there. So anyone that's listening, I would invite them to go out there and take a tour and see what their tax dollars have gone for, because it is just it's first class. It really is a first class event center. And the one thing that Gail and Zendel hear a lot about, and I'm sure Quentin does too, is they would love to see a hotel on that exit. Mm-hmm. To have a hotel that's close to the facility, maybe within walking distance or within distance that we could do a shuttle, a bus back and forth from the hotel to the Expo Center. So that's something that I know if we're all looking at now, if we could build a hotel somewhere in the closest vicinity of the Expo Center and the James E. Ward Ag Center.
Well, I've heard that before. In fact, that's kind of been a little scuttlebutt for at least 2 or 3 years, maybe longer. And I think it certainly makes sense that if you had a hotel there, it would be another selling point, and it would be a convenience, such a convenience thing for people.
Oh, it definitely would. It like I said, there's other groups that they'll call about the facility, but when they find out there's not a hotel at that exit that's close for them, because so many people, they want to come to the Expo Center and the Ag Center. They want to have their events, and then they just want to walk back to their hotel and spend the night and get up and come back over the next morning instead of having to get in their car and drive to a hotel and back. And, and our hotel and motel tax has increased tremendously this last year.
Yeah.
But we're surprised how much it goes up monthly.
Well, I guess in a way, we need all the money we can get. We're hearing now that the BEP program, and I'll switch gears a little bit here, is maybe going to be revised, and we don't know for sure how that's going to affect us. But being a more affluent county, we might, and we're already hearing some calls for more funding for education, and being a county commissioner, that's I think the last thing you really want to do is raise taxes, but these needs have to be satisfied.
They do, and I did read that in the paper. I think it was yesterday, maybe over the weekend, that the governor is working on doing away with the BEP and working out a new way to fund education that works for every school in every district in the state of Tennessee. Because we're ranked 45th in the state. We've got a fantastic school system. We need our rankings to be on up as far as pupil spending. We need that to go up to where we're in the top 10, or at least the top 20, 25.
All right, we're about 5 minutes away from 8 o'clock here. Sue Bonetta, County Commissioner, is my guest, and I want to switch gears again and remind our regular listeners, know you were with me, I don't know how long it's been, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, a month, 4 or 5 weeks sometime, and you had said several months ago, I think, that you were not going to run for your county commission seat, the district you represent, and then you had changed your mind, and you announced that when you were here that day and talked about people who had encouraged you to run, and you had decided, okay, you'd do it, and I think that would be your third term. Well, I think something else has happened in the meantime, and I'm going to let you tell us what has happened and the conclusion you've come to.
Well, Coleman, it has been a lot of thought, a lot of prayer on my decision on this. Yes, I had said that at the beginning I would not run because I believe in term limits, and I've served 2 terms as a county commissioner, which is 8 years. And then I did announce, I had a lot of people call me about running again, and I did announce I was going to run again for the 23rd district. And after that, it seemed like things started changing in my life. I have a granddaughter getting married in a couple of months. I have a new great-grandson that's expected July the 1st. I will have 25 immediate family members. That's children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I have an opportunity to do some traveling this year. So I sat down and I looked at my calendar from last year, and I keep everything on a written calendar. My children laugh at me because I don't keep it in my phone. I said, because I'll lose it in the phone. My hand calendar, I know I've got it there. So I went back and looked and counted the different meetings that I attended in 2021 that were county related. It may not be a county commission meeting, but different meetings county related, like at the Ag Center and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I came up with 146 meetings.
Wow.
I thought, Sue, are you crazy? I've enjoyed it. I've loved doing what I do. And I'm one of these people that, and you know me this well, if I'm going to be involved in something, I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. And then I got to thinking, well, Sue, you were with the chamber for 23 years. You served as a commissioner 8 years. You've put in 31 years for Wilson County and Lebanon because I love Wilson County. And when I looked at all that together and talked to my children again, I made the difficult decision to say I will not run again for the 23rd district. And you are the first to hear this.
So you're making the announcement official this morning.
I'm making an announcement this morning that I have chosen not to run for commissioner of the 23rd district. I wish whoever runs in my place, I hope they will keep in mind that they are working for the taxpayers of Wilson County, and that they will do whatever they need to do to help the taxpayers, not only in Wilson County and the people in Wilson County and the 23rd district, but throughout the county. Because even though you're a commissioner for one district, you still are commissioner for all of Wilson County. And I can say that because I had a gentleman call me just this week from down in near Les Casas, but in Wilson County, because he said that he was the only commissioner. I was the only commissioner that he knew. And he called me to see what he needed to do about an issue, and I called the commissioner, that's his commissioner, and they are working with him and taking care of it. So it's a team effort. It's not just, so you're commissioner of the 23rd district. If someone calls you from another district, you put them in touch with the right commissioner, and it's a team effort. And I just decided it's time for me to stay home. I'm still working at the radio station. I'm still involved with my children. I've still got a lot going on, and I'm happy. I've made this decision, and I'm happy with my decision.
All right. Well, it's good to know you're happy. We've got less than a minute here, but what do you think reaction's going to be as this word gets out today?
Probably surprised.
Well, I was a little surprised, but I understand. I really do. And when 143 meetings, you said?
146 minutes, and I have them on my calendar. I can go
and there, a lot of them are at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we got to close it out here. But Sue Bonetta, thanks for being my guest here this morning, and we're glad to share your announcement with our listening audience. But she will not be running for county commissioner. Changed her mind, and thank you very much. And we wish you the best, Sue.
Thank you, Coleman.
That is it for a Thursday morning, and we hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a tremendous day.